Welcome back to Delicious and Nutritious, everybody. Today we are going to be cooking jalapeno poppers. They are absolutely amazing. They are healthy, and by using the substitutes, it really takes this recipe up another notch. This recipe is going to be from Le Creme de la Creme. Number one, we're going to need 3 to 4 chicken breasts. Then we're going to need 8 ounces of cream cheese for this recipe. The brand that I am going to suggest is going to be Kite Hill. Kite Hill is an amazing almond cultured cream cheese. And next we are going to be checking out the jalapenos. Again, typically speaking, I use the green chilies, but you can also use the Rio Luna or La Preferida sliced jalapenos. That one we're going to need a 1/3 cup of there, and then we're going to need garlic powder, a teaspoon. We're going to need a teaspoon of cumin, and then we're going to need a teaspoon of salt. As we did talk about before, we did use the Himalayan salt or the gray salt. It calls for 16 tortillas. I often find that I don't quite use 16 tortillas, but these tortillas, again, are gonna be by the brand Siete. These are gonna be almond flour tortillas, so if there's too much almonds for you, they also make cassava root tortillas. They do chia seed tortillas. They do recommend putting a little bit of cheese on there. This is vegan cultured pepper jack cheese, which is going to be from the brand Miyoko's. If you guys are gonna use the crock pot, I'm not gonna do it, but I am gonna cover it for you guys. So that's gonna be 8 ounces of cream cheese. You are gonna use 3 to 4 chicken breasts. You're gonna use a 1/2 cup of water. I have found that you need a little bit more water in there as well. You're gonna add in the jalapenos, which is gonna be the 1/3 cup chopped, or the green chilies, same exact recipe, or you can put a little bit more of these in there. I usually just, whatever can I have, I just use the entire can in the recipe if I'm going for the green chilies. We have the salt, the teaspoon, we have the teaspoon of the cumin, which is really easy to remember, and then we have the teaspoon of the garlic. And then all you do is throw all that into the crock pot, and you can put it on low. I prefer it on low for 6 to 8 hours. Cooking things on low is always better in my opinion. If you want to put it on higher, you're kind of in a time crunch. It's going to be 3 to 4 hours on high. Make sure to come back and stir that because it does evaporate the water. If you need a little bit more water, throw it in there and keep stirring that. So when that's done, then we would almost be to here. But since we're going here today, I have already cooked the chicken in the oven. I cook it at 375 for approximately 25 minutes. I already have my chicken cooked here, so we're gonna shred this. You can use a food processor to chop chicken extremely fast. Unfortunately, I don't have my food processor, so we're gonna have to do this by hand. And also, I wanna make sure that I go ahead and I chop up my jalapenos. Even though the chicken's cooked, I just like to handle all my vegetables first. You can go about it as a very calculated manner, or you can just go ahead and go at it like this. Just move this over just a little bit. There we go. So the jalapenos are pretty much chopped there. You can do them a little bit more fine if you would like. There is the 1/3 cup. I have my pan here that I'm gonna use, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put these in there. It calls for 8 ounces of cream cheese, and this is an 8-ounce container. The next step is going to be to take our chicken and to start shredding it. If you've already cooked your chicken prematurely like I have, and we shred it, it's already ready. It's basically just melding the flavors together in the pot after this point. If you didn't use the slow cooker process is so much more efficient because you don't have to worry about cooking it or anything like that. You have to shred it afterwards. I think I'm just gonna go after this with my hands and maneuver this together here because it seems to come apart a little bit easier when it's cold. The other thing you can do that I have done in the past, because we're gonna start sauteing this, is you can add in some type of greens if you wanna make this a little bit more of a vegetable dish. Or you can also add artichokes, some canned artichokes, quartered. We have all of our shredded chicken here. We're gonna go ahead and throw that in there. You may want to use a little bit of oil. My preferred is going to be refined organic coconut oil. And then we have the cream cheese. We're gonna go ahead and throw that in there. So it is a very thick mixture. And then you wanna measure out the teaspoon of each, and then we're gonna go ahead and drop that in there. That's what's gonna turn into this amazing mixture. It's gonna be nice and thick when we saute it. And then if you guys do wanna see here, we just basically stir this around. It's already getting kind of dry, but we're just basically melding all this flavor together. And I would put a little bit of water in here because it's gonna cook out. Approximately 1/8 of a cup of water. I leave these almond flour sietes, as we're cooking in the background, out room temperature. And you do have to be a little bit careful, but once they get to be room temperature, they become a lot more pliable here. And then we do have the pepper jack Miyoko's cheese that we are going to put on top. Okay, we are done. A few minutes just sauteing, and we are right here. See, it's a nice thick mixture right there. And then what I do is I take a wooden spoon and I go through and I just grind up any big chunks here. We are going to put a little bit of coconut oil on the pan, and then we are going to move that throughout. And then we are going to take our tortillas. So you're gonna have to judge, is your tortilla room temperature enough? If it is not room temperature enough, see, this one is going to fold, and it's gonna be good because this is gonna be how we're doing it. If it starts to crack a little bit, it's too cold, whatever that is, you're gonna wanna put this on a pan, on the stove, and you're gonna wanna cook it for approximately a few seconds, not very long. And then we are going to grab this. We're gonna go ahead and fill it roughly filling each tortilla. Go ahead and set that aside. If you do want to take your cheese and put it in a bowl, that would really help. So number one, we have it in there, approximately, I don't know, an inch. And then we're gonna go ahead and top it with a little bit of cheese. And then we are going to fold, roll, and then when we put it in, it's going to be rolled side down to cook. And then we're on to our next one. Feels pliable enough. There we go, we have a nice rough inch-ish diameter. And we have the pepper jack in there. You can roll it a little bit tighter if you want. And then we're gonna go ahead and drop that in there. There's number two. Success. So I used 3 chicken breasts, a little bit on the larger side, medium to large, and I did a total of 11 taquitos. This is gonna be our pan number one. We have another pan sitting over there. So the oven is already preheated to 425 as we started with. Now we're gonna put this in for 10 to 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, if you don't see that browning of the edges, because that's really what we want, I'm gonna give you guys a little insider tip. What you can do is turn on the broil feature and do that for approximately 30 seconds to a minute. You really have to eye that. You have to make sure it doesn't start burning them, but if you wanna crisp out the edges, that's a great way to do so. Today we are going to be making a vegan Chipotle cream sauce. This is gonna be an extremely good recipe. We're gonna need cashews. These are gonna be raw cashews, organic. Number two, we're gonna need a cup of water. And the next thing we're gonna need is 1 to 2 Chipotle peppers in adobo sauce. I picked up from Whole Foods organic whole chili chipotle peppers. What I then picked up, because I need the adobo sauce, is also at Whole Foods. They have these extremely small little packages of unique spices. This one is going to be adobo seasoning. Simmer all ingredients in a covered pan for 1 hour, stirring occasionally or until liquid reduces to about a cup. Then we need a teaspoon of smoked paprika, but I'm using regular paprika. And then we need a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then we need a teaspoon of salt. Himalayan sea salt or gray salt are gonna be the ones that I recommend for you guys. And then we need a half lemon or lime juiced. You are going to need a blender for this. This is just a NutriBullet. Typically I use a Vitamix. Everything, go ahead and measure it all out, and then we are going to toss it into the blender. And it says 1 cup of cashews soaked. So what I would do is I would take the 1 cup of water, 1 cup of cashews, I would put it in a bowl and I would just let it soak for approximately 30 minutes to really start softening those up. And that's pretty much it for the sauce, guys. Then we just go ahead and top off the blender, and we are going to blend this up together. I make sure that I see when the blender is going, it starts to pull into kind of like this folded mannerism. When I start to see that, that means that it's really starting to get smooth. Great consistency. Blend it a little bit more if you do want it, and then you can serve it in a nice little ramekin. Alrighty guys, so we have the Chipotle sauce made. We have the officially done jalapeno poppers. So check them out, nice little golden brown. This one was 12 minutes. Look how they came out, they're absolutely perfect. When people start trying these, they're gonna be like, what in the world is that? And we have the vegan Chipotle cream sauce that we just made as well while we were waiting for those to come out. Here we go, vegan Chipotle cream popper topped. Gosh. This is truly the definition of delicious and nutritious. It's going to impress everybody. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Definitely share the video, and I can't wait to do some more cooking deliciously and nutritiously to make sure that you're succeeding in life. Thank you.